Welcome to the learning channel as Talk Procurement, and today our episode number is 41. In this episode, we will try to learn about the procurement cycle. The procurement cycle is made up of 13 clear steps, starting at specification to the tender and finishing up the asset management. This cycle is very clear and trusted resource for all the procurement and supply professionals. Let's understand the definition. Procurement is a strategic process to acquire the goods or services at the lowest cost of ownership. That is known as the procurement. So let's understand these 13 steps in this cycle. Number one is define needs and specifications. Number two is commodity option, market test, and market analysis. Number three is develop sources, strategy, and plans, and pre-procurement market test. And number six is develop document and specifications. Six is supplier selection. Seven is issue tender documents. Eight is bid tender evaluation and validations. Nine is award contract or contract awarding and the implementation process. Receiving, logistic, and warehousing. Contract performance review and audit. Supplier relationship management. Asset management. So all these are the 13 steps in this procurement cycle. We will go in detail to understand how the procurement and supply professionals take maximum benefits out of it. First is define needs. The first stage of the procurement cycle process is to understand and define the business opportunity or the business needs. Before going into more detail, let's clarify what is the specification of the product, what I'm looking for, and what is the need of the business. Either this item is required in the business or no, and this is helpful for the project or not. At this stage, we invite the cross-functional stakeholders to give us a wide range of expertise and to develop a comprehensive specification or high level of specification to make sure that we are not mistaken. And what are those stakeholders? It could be the engineering department, service department, and the end users, and definitely the finance department as well. So engaging the stakeholders at this early stage means they will support the change process where the stakeholder buy in the requirements. So here the end users, they will issue the purchase acquisitions and provide the required specification of the goods. On base of that, all those cross-functional stakeholders will help together, will use their expertise, range of the expertise to make sure that they are successfully create the high level of specifications. So next is market and commodity analysis. Market analysis and market make or buy option. In this stage that the procurement department do the market analysis and to make sure to look for the better opportunity. Either we have to go, either the organization has to go for the production level or they can go to outsource the product from the local or the international suppliers. So sourcing out your spend or the current positionings and the dynamic of the marketplace help you identify the potential suppliers and degree of competitions. Here you can conduct analysis as to whether to make or buy product or outsource the product from the internal or external suppliers. So in-house activities, we do the internal transfer from one facility to the another facility, and also that we can manufacture or produce the product in our own house if we have the enough capacity or capability. If we don't have such things, so we go for the external buyout options. So what we'll do, we buy from the different suppliers and or we will go for hire or lease from the external suppliers, or we can just rent it out the services and make sure that we complete our project. So next is third is the develop source and strategy and plannings. Now you already has defined the product with a high skills specification and you know what you're looking for and what you want for your organizations. On this level, there is an opportunity or it's time to develop a strategy and plan. So we should consider the potential impact of the external environment as well. So what you'll do, conducting the competitive tender is a good idea where you can do the competition and you are well positioned to leverage the market. So either you will go for the local source or you're going for the international import process or going for the internationally sourcing the goods from different facilities or different organizations. And on base of your project, you have to decide you will go for the multiple sources or you will just get all your goods from the single source. On base of that, you always also have to review that or make a strategy plan that you are going for the existing supplier or you will look for the new source and new supplier for this project or these items. So the last but not the least, you have the best opportunity and you can influence in the market impact going for the tendering and the RFQ process. So difference between the tender and RFQ. Tender is the formal and high value items, and there's a high also having the high risk. Then they issue the tenders, and this tender could be an open or closed tender. RFQ is an informal request, which is considering the low value items and it having also the low risk on it. Next is pre-procurement market test or engagement. The pre-procurement market process includes identifying both stakeholders and the business needs and how the change to implement the procurement strategy can meet those needs flexibly. So conducting the market test or strategy will help you to identify if it's the right time to go into the marketplace or not. Consider other factors such as crop cycle, competitor activities, suppliers, and of the financial years or new legislations. It could affect on the market launching product. So make sure all the pre-procurement activities have been tested and market has been analysis. After that, you will go for the opportunity step to go for the launching your documentation process. So next is for me is the develop documentation and specification. This is the key time to spending to developing the documentation or the tender requirements, including the detail specification to ensure the consistency on pricing, product quality, and operational functionality. This means that products are fit for your purposes. If the specification is not well defined, then there's a chance that you might have the wrong product with you, which will be highly cost to your organization. And term and conditions are very important, which should be declared on the time of the documentations when both the parties both the stakeholders are going to sign those documents. And the contract samples also, you have to distinguish your specification between the product required and the preferred building in tolerance for the supplier to adhere to. So this kind of include the key stakeholder in the process, supplier selections. You have to go for the request for information at this stage, and the procurement department, they will help to gain insight into this supplier. They will look into the size of the company or organization, capabilities, financial strength and weakness. So they make sure that assessing the criteria can help you to determine if they should be included in the tender process or receive a request for quotation. Ranking the performance qualification against the business needs with the key stakeholders is a useful exercise at this stage. So how we do the pre-qualifications of the suppliers, there is criteria is known as the 10 C's, where you will look into the 10 C's, which will say competency, capacity, commitment, control, cash, cost, consistency, clean, culture, and communication. So you will go one by one and you will check the supplier's competency and are they competent to do that, or they are not competent, or what is the capacity of their supplier. Either they are capable to provide you all this supply or not. Maybe they don't have the enough facility to provide you the services. So what about the commitment? So when you have the RFI, then you are most clear about the company or organization status. So next is the issue. Once you select the supplier, then you have to go for the issuing the tendering process and issue the tender documents. You have to send the invitation to the tenders and the request for the quotation to the selected supplier to participate, or you will go for the other opportunity to go for the open tendering, which you will invite all the suppliers who are even you're in list or not, but most preferably for the high value tender only for your selected suppliers. Include the detailed specification of the product and documentation development around the business requirement, along with the clear timeline response. So this will help you to get the better response from the supplier. It is tender evaluation and validations. When you issue the invitation to the tender and you receive the tender bidding from the different suppliers, you selected the suppliers. This is the time to go for the evaluation and validate against the predefined award criteria. So for information, each company has their pre-award criteria. On basis of that, they will select the suppliers and they will award the contract who is offering the best value of money to the organization. So this will ensure the tender evaluation is a structured, disciplined, and transparent. Most bid evaluation explore price comparison along with the technical capabilities, capacity, quality, and financial health. So post-tender negotiation often take place at this stage at checks and supplier visit, technical audit, and product sampling and trial. Considering whole life cycle cost, including the decomposing and removal or disposal of the product. So these are very important that all of these costs has been calculated and mentioned in the tender evaluations, and it has been reviewed well. Otherwise, it will be a big issue at the time of the decomposing of the assets. Value for money consists on 40% price of the cost of the items and 60% of technical support given by the suppliers. So 9 is the contract award and implementation. Once the supplier has been selected, you will be award a contract to the preferred supplier. This allows both parties to fully understand the obligation and key success criteria as part of the agreement. So award criteria offer agreed term and condition to minimize contractual risk and exposure when doing the businesses. At this stage, buyer will issue the purchase order. It will be a blanket order, and later on he can issue the release order to the supplier so he can release the product. Receiving, logistic, and warehousing. This is the time the warehouse operation needs to be considered to ensure the smooth, efficient process. This could be including the product receiving, checking, matching with the supplier invoice and of the purchase orders, product coding and classification of the products, and space layout and racking and deliveries. So warehouse team has to make sure that they are separating the product as per the classification and keep the product in their particular project so they will not lose the deal and the supply will be smooth in the end. So here is the inspection and this is the layout of the warehouse, and they will put the product in their certain assigned locations. On base of that, they will make outbound deliveries, and they will make sure that all the outbound delivery has been smoothly proceeded and executed. So contract performance review, this is the time for the audits that see and monitor how the contract has been performed. Either they supply the product on time, there any delay, so are they work as per the set out the KPI, or is something has been breached during this contract execution process. So contract review should include discussion and how the relationship is working with the supplier and how they are resolving the conflict. If any conflict happen, discuss plan of continuous improvement, keep continuous communications, make sure that they improve. So they will make sure that they have the best services, the success for the suppliers, and make sure that they are getting all what they are agreed in their agreement contract. Before going to the end of this cycle, there is very important relationship management in the supply chain management. It's play a very important role, and this will help them to review the portfolio of supplier and establishing the right level of input to develop the relationship and achieve the specific objectives. Time devoted to supplier relationship management depends on your strategy, how the strategy has been designed and how it is going to be executed, type of purchases, length of contract, and the marketplaces. So supplier relationship management helps to create the right relationship and environment in which to work on. This is important and is make an impact on the organization. So make sure that they focus on the supplier relationship management. So most of the companies has been noticed that ignored this point, but that's the reason during the COVID-19, a lot of the suppliers step back and they move to the next suppliers or move to the other suppliers. Asset management. So over time assessment should be carried out to determine if the business requirements have changed, whether the agreement is still required and fit for the purpose. This takes us back to the start of the cycle, which begin again. Remember that we calculate an account for the end of the cycle costs, including decommissioning, removal, and disposal of the assets. Important at this stage that when the life cycle of the item has been finished, then this contract must having this cost mentioned there, that this cost will be incurred and it has been calculated ahead of time to make sure that the product has been procured on the lowest cost of ownership. So I hope that this procurement cycle has been explained well to you and it's understood. If you have any question, don't hesitate to ask me. So what is the conclusion and learning of this episode? We have learned three things. Pre-contract activities is from point 1 to point 8 and contract activities is a point number 9. So post-contract activities is carried out from point 10 to 13, the time when we start receiving the product and going for the evaluation and audit of the performance of the suppliers. So how the contract has been executed and what's the benefit both of the parties and stakeholders have achieved. I hope you understand this episode, and this will help you to grow in your procurement cycle process, and this will help all the procurement and the supply professionals. So for more learning, keep watching this channel. Thank you.